Hey guys, Tarke here, and today I'm going to go over the first final draft of the topic list for Baeclast on Saturday coming. Chris has seen this full topic list and agreed to everything. He's also said that anything he can't directly answer himself, he will ask the team to give him answers for between now and Saturday. So this is basically what you're going to kind of see. We might add something if a last minute question, which you guys suggest is like really pressing that we've missed. But yeah, this is basically what to expect. And this is the beautiful overlay that Nate Vation made for us earlier. Feels amazing, man. Chris has also said he's going to try and have a webcam for the episode, so you get to soak in the glorious facial hair he has apparently now acquired. So, let's get into it. One thing which is very important to note, this is going to be a normal Baeclast. This isn't going to be a strict Q&A. We're still going to be memeing. I'm still going to drop a few pog champs in the mix. It will be, a little bit more chill, maybe slightly more serious, but, it's still going to be pretty laid back and kicked back. So the idea is the first half of the episode or so will be normal, just group discussion with everyone on, which again is Ziggy D, Rise QT, Chris Wilson, and myself. And then in the latter half, we'll go into more, strict Q&A, if that makes kind of sense. So chill out, kind of have a fun discussion with everyone, then get into the more serious Q&A towards the end. So, I've also set up a system where any very easy to answer questions will be marked with an asterisk, and those questions Chris is going to try and get the easy yes-no answers to. So once we have the quick yes-no answers, we can then remove them from the topic list, saves more time for group discussion, and then I'll make a separate video covering the easy, this is how this explicitly works kind of thing. So if you see anything on there with a little asterisk on it, that means it's a very simple yes-no question. Okay, so we'll open up with just some chill, what's everyone been up to, what's kind of been going on, just, get into the swing of things, work out any last second audio issues, just, kind of get into the flow of the conversation. It's been a while since Ziggy's been on, and it's been a while since Chris has been on, and it's good to have a, little flow with everyone, get that nice little rapport building up. From that, we're going to go into incursion. Everyone's first reactions to the new league, and then how Chris felt about the community reaction. This will be particularly interesting, kind of seeing, how me and Rise's opinion differs from Ziggy, since Ziggy's obviously played it, and then how that all differs between, Chris, who's, been behind the scenes of it all. With that, we'll then talk about Ziggy's most recent streams and videos. And if you haven't seen them yet, Ziggy's done a very cool run-through of a few Incursion Temple runs, so that's very much worth checking out. If we have any concerns from that initial one, a lot of people have been questioning about the, loot, the lack of loot, how slowly loot drops at the end, maybe not enough monsters in there, talking about that sort of stuff. Then from that, what other concerns do we have? Has the team already, got plans to address some of these initial concerns and feedback from the community? An example I give of like a concern, for example, is there any systems in place to make larger maps attractive, or is this just going to be a league of strand meta to get as many incursions per hour? Are there any rewards for doing higher tier maps? So that's a very simple yes/no response. That's what has the little asterisk next to it. If Chris has an exact answer for that, then I'll take it off the docket and we can address it at a later point. Are we worried about room spawning RNG? A lot of the incursion module is about getting specific rooms to spawn, then upgrading them into higher tiers. And then also, just as a side question, has GGG ever considered the use of a pity timer or an entropy system to make specifically league content RNG less punishing? So for example, Formula Lich boss spawn rates. For anyone who doesn't know what a pity timer or an entropy system is, it's kind of like a counter which would start in the background. So if we just use the Abyss as an example, let's say after every Abyssal Depths where you don't get a Lich while spawn, you then have a little timer or like a little percentage to make it slightly more likely. It's never guaranteed, but it's just the more you run without encountering it, the more likely it is you will encounter it. And that would be just specifically for league content. I'm not saying for like fusings or jewelers or whatever, but anyway. How do we feel about embracing the clear speed meta and league showering players in reward? Do we think there are any long-term consequences to this? As a developer, where do you draw the line? Again, you'll notice most of these questions are kind of, group discussion, not just strict Q&A. As I said, we want to have a nice flowing conversation for the first half, more Q&A in the latter. Modular league design. What room types do you want to see that hasn't been announced yet? Chris, any crazy rooms that didn't make the final cut because they were just too powerful or just didn't quite work? Bit of a fun question. Also means we can ask for like maybe a bestiary themed incursion room, maybe get some of those aspect items and unique sets, maybe. What are the plans for Shaper/Elder influence and map specific div cards dropping inside incursions? Again, Pretty easy yes no question. Expect this to probably be removed from the topic list. How many rooms will there be at launch? This is quite an important question because it's been advertised as having 75 rooms, but the rooms have multiple tiers. So that are 75 different rooms or 25 core rooms with 3 tiers. Then we'll talk about the new skills and the reworks. Initial skill and VAR impressions. What are we most hyped and not interested in? Any foreseeable problem PC child? So anything which looks like it might be like just way too powerful. When making a new skill, what is the defining factor or seal of approval needed for it to go live? Stormburst, Spectral Shield Throw, Charge Dash, Tectonic Strike, etc. all launch a general disappointment. What is ensuring the new traps will break this cycle? With the new Poison and now Ignite and Trap rework, we're seeing a lot of mandatory build-defining uniques. For example, the new Trapper Glove scaling cast speed. Do we like the system where entire skills/ailments seem dependent on X to work? After experimenting with set items, do you think this will become more or less of a thing going forward? So we get to all give our general opinion, then having Chris's input, how the team kind of feels about having these. You want to play a poison build, you have to use Dendro Bait, you have to use this item. Do you think we'll see more or less of that going forward? And that's like quite a big thing, really. So if that's something the team really wants to embrace, then that's quite a big shift in design and vice versa. With all the love traps are getting, how do you feel about the current state of self-cast with the power of totems, mines, and now traps? Maybe self-cast could use some spice. Self-cast has been feeling a little bit limp in comparison. Yes, Blade Vortex, you go self-cast because of mechanical stuff, but, a lot of things just really feels like if you want to play it, just shove it on a totem and it'll be better. Mobility. Is anything going to change in the foreseeable future, aka next legal to? If not, why not? It's a pretty self-explanatory question. I could write this out in 57 different paragraphs, but yeah, are we going to see any meaningful improvements happening to the disparity between movement skills, etc.? And then, is the Val lockup time across all Val skills or just local to the one skill at a time? Pretty straightforward question, expect to get removed from the docket list. And then these are the Q&A questions. I've broken them up into 2 points. I selected the 5 questions which seemed the most pressing, most important, and then after that we have the rapid fire. So if all we can cover is the incursion discussion, the skill discussion, and then these 5 important questions, I'm happy personally, and I think that's enough. Ideally we'll then fit in as much rapid fire, but Chris is on a clock, we're not going to have him for a 57-hour episode. We'll fit in as much as we can, but if we can just get these done in, I'm personally very happy. So, people really want to know timeline on attack in place. I personally didn't realize this was such a big thing, but this is like the most requested. People asking like, what's the timeline happening on attack in place? For anyone who doesn't know, yes, there is the numlock trick, but people want attack in place bound to specific skills. So for example, you could have attack in place always on your shield charge, but then not on your other abilities. Elder Ring and tier 15 Elder spawning RNG. Are GGG happy with the current system? Do you plan on changing the carry system that currently exists? Are you happy with the latest map balance pass? So quite a large question, but he's agreed to all of it. And, it's easier just to condense all the Atlas into one specific point. The state of AoE and projectiles. What does the team consider healthy and unhealthy AoE, aka clearing 3 screens versus 2 centimeters? It'll be very interesting to actually hear, what they think good AoE is. And if they say that good AoE is the current state of Kinetic Blast, well then they really have no excuse, that half the AoE skills feel absolutely worthless. So I'm very interested in seeing what they have to say about this. 1-hand versus 2-hand balance, and then on this topic, stat sticks, so you get into the whole, Shaper Elder discussion. Boss phases and loot. Is the team happy with the current boss design and maps? These are like the 5 most pressing, most controversial, most like big important things. And, I think you'll probably agree, that's the stuff we really care about. The other stuff is kind of like, this stuff is mostly fluff. Important fluff, but fluff nonetheless. Increased item quantity versus increased item rarity. With all the conspiracy theories going along, all the different, spreadsheets and stuff, just having a rough idea, is there something going on? You don't have to give us a specific formula, just a yes, no would be really nice. Is it actually a thing, or is it just bullshit? We've seen reworks to leveling, mapping, and now skills. What's next top priority for the team? Masters, hopefully. Masters feeling a bit... Encroaching Darkness, revert the drop nerf, please. A lot of people have requested I mention the nerf drop rate to Encroaching Darkness. Then hideout improvements, can we expect anything coming soon? Give a few examples. Same with guild improvements. Then just a simple yes/no clarification. With the double Varl implicits we've seen, if you haven't seen it, a few items have had 2 Varl implicits, which could potentially be very broken in some cases. So I say, you know, could you get the same thing twice, like double Proj on Quivers or double Curse on Ami? Then, you know, what's the deal with the group? So I self-found in custom leagues. There was a lot of talk about that, but it's kind of gone dead recently. And then any notable quality of life changes coming to the Xbox or PC clients soon. It'd be nice to know if they've got anything in the works, and for, you know, the 3 Xbox players, they get a little mention in there. So yeah. If you have any actually important, really pressing questions that you think, you know, are crucial and have been missed, leave them down below. Don't ask me, what are you going to do with Ice Nova, which was a question I did receive, and yeah, ignore stupid little silly specifics, big general things, you know, big game changes, that forward. People saying, why haven't you mentioned anything about loot boxes? We kind of would expect a pretty PR-y answer there. I feel very passionate about loot boxes and the whole, you know, MTX model, but it would just be a massive time conversion, and you'd think 15 minutes and probably not get a real response. But anyway, anything important you think is missing, please do let me know. And again, this will be happening at 9 AM UK time on Saturday coming, streamed on my Twitch and uploaded in full here on the YouTube. I'll leave a timer link in the description. I'm Tarke. Thanks again, Chris, for agreeing to this. Have a good day. Bye-bye.